Ladies and gentlemen, we can't talk regional integration without Kiswahili. Swahili language is the glue that will bind the integration together. Our journey will go through Kenya, the Busia border. We proceed through Kisumu and we enter the United Republic of Tanzania via the Sirari border. And then we get to Mkoa wa Mara. Mara region, the district is called Butiama and the village is called Mwitonga. That is where Mwalimu Julius Nyerere's mausoleum is. So every year we gather in Butiama to pray for Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere. The Catholic Church has initiated a process to pray for Mwalimu Nyerere to become a saint. And as you are aware, in Uganda here, every year on the 1st of June, President Museveni and the Catholic Church agreed their special prayers every year, 1st of June, to pray for the beatification and the canonization process of Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere. Ladies and gentlemen, we can't talk regional integration without Kiswahili. Swahili language is the glue that will bind the integration together. We have a live example. Those of you who are familiar, when we are talking about the United Republic of Tanzania, Mheshimiwa Jenerali aliyewakilisha balozi, tunaposema Tanzania, somebody takes offense, ni Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. There is no country called Tanzania. The country is United Republic of Tanzania, which has both Tanzania mainland and the islands of Zanzibar. Now, the union between Tanzania mainland and Zanzibar has remained strong because of ideally one thing, language, and that is Kiswahili. So, if East African integration is to remain vibrant, and if we are to make solid steps, then we must embrace Kiswahili. Now, when we are done, when we are in Butiama, the dates are in the press release. We have special prayers, BC, TBC, KBC, MTV, and all other media platforms represented. They always give us live coverage. 5 uninterrupted hours of live coverage when we are in Butiama. Let's clap for them, please. Special recognition also to nation media, NTV Uganda. They have journeyed with us. As young people, you have bubbling ideas in your minds. You want to put them on paper, but convincing the leadership to accept them is a challenge. So I want to thank each one of you for welcoming us and embracing the idea when we presented it to you. So when in Butiama, we will have chance, first of all, to visit Mwalimu Nyerere's ancestral home. We will visit the Mwalimu Nyerere University of Agriculture and Technology, brand new university. Your Excellency, Ambassador Fernandez, you know the relationship that Venezuela, Cuba have with Tanzania. El Comandante Fidel Castro, when he visited Mwalimu, he said you need to have better breeds of cattle. So he sent Cuban vets who came to Butiama. They set up this center. So that center has now metamorphosized into a university. So we shall visit the university when we are there. And finally, on that note, Serengeti National Park. We will study this in classroom. Now we have a chance of visiting the mighty Serengeti National Park, which is hardly 70-50 kilometers away from Butiama. So those will go with us in October. We shall visit Serengeti National Park. Then when we are done, 14th October is a public holiday in Tanzania. It's called Nyerere Day. So when we are done, we shall now embark on our third leg of the pilgrimage, which will take us to the beautiful capital, Nairobi of Kenya. Like I said, Mwalimu never worked alone. So we are done with Uganda. We've gone to Tanzania. Now we will move to the Republic of Kenya, where we will begin by visiting the National Assembly and paying tribute to Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, laying flowers on the grave of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, and later we will move from Nairobi to Kiambu County at a place called Gatundu, where we will camp and also get to watch the liberation struggle, specifically General Kaguta Museveni, because he has believed in the idea and given us a directive. I met the president 2 years ago, briefed him about this idea, he welcomed it, and directed that this should be an annual tradition. So ladies and gentlemen, when we talk of Twende Zetu Butiama, this is a presidential directive, and I want to thank stakeholders, Uganda Police, for understanding us. Thank you for giving us security. We have lead patrols from here all the way to the border in Busia. Mheshimiwa Balozi, naomba pia nishukuru the government of Kenya, because when we live here, we have the police clearing us the way in a convoy. We reach Busia, Kenyan police takes over. It's a smooth transition. It's a smooth journey. From Busia, Kenyan police, first of all your own country, then you move to other countries, and they embrace it. They allow you passage, they give you escort security, they support you in all forms. That, to me, I say it is the grace of God, which is unmerited favor, as my friend Comrade Odeke usually says. So I want to thank the government of the United Republic of Tanzania, because last year when we went, we had a bit of challenges here and there. The regional commissioner wa mkoa wa Mara came out and supported us. State House Uganda has been fully funding this pilgrimage. But right now, we are welcoming other partners on board. The Republic of Kenya, I'm very sure, without an iota of doubt, that through my brother and good friend, His Excellency Ambassador Ababu Namwamba, His Excellency President Ruto, will be on board to fully support us. Then, I can't say much when it comes to Mama Samia Suluhu Hassan, because they welcomed the idea. Mwalimu Nyerere is our own. You know, nobody owns Mwalimu Nyerere. He's the father of the region. We all call upon all Ugandans, more so the leadership. Madam IGG, we have the new developments happening in our country. As you are aware, we are not here to talk politics. But as young people, we are acutely aware that the cancer of corruption is finishing the fabric of our society. To a holy land. But from an ideological perspective, when you go to the resources of Tanzania would have developed that country far beyond, but Mwalimu chose to dedicate the resources of Tanzania to helping other countries, more so the frontline states, to get independence. So we call upon all stakeholders to come out in large numbers to be part of this journey.
So Doctor, after that, you will have to come in and invite our distinguished guests who will give their submissions before we switch to the unveiling. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Comrade Amanya. Now, without much ado, permit me, as the Secretary General of the African Union Kiswahili Commission, introduce to you members of ACALAN, AU Kiswahili Commission. Then later, now, I will leave the rest of that to Professor Mutembe, but for me, let me just get into the introduction. That once we were done with the meeting, 9 commissioners were elected. The mandate is clear: promotion of awareness and adoption of Swahili language on the continent. By the grace of God, I am a Christian who believes that when the time is right, the God in heaven makes things happen. I went into that meeting, I had no idea absolutely what would happen. But by the grace of God, I didn't even know there were elections to be conducted. But at a continental level, when we sat, colleagues in the meeting agreed unanimously that I should be the Secretary General of the African Union Kiswahili Commission. The name is Dr. Sembo Ronex Tendo. Then we have Dr. Aida Mutenyo, heading education and sensitization from the University of Kabale University. Karibu sana daktari. At an appropriate time, she will have her time to address you. Then we have Professor Kenneth Simala from Kenya. He's not here with us. We are 9, but out of 9, we have 4. And I will spare you the details because, one, when it comes to Congo, our commissioner from Congo, of course, the new travel advisory, because of Ebola, he was ready actually to set off and come be with us. Minister of Health blocked travel to DRC, so he's not able to be here. The same with the Burundi, but I will introduce them. Professor Kenneth Simala is a commissioner on the commission. Then we have our Professor Senkoro, who is an advisor and a commissioner on the commission. Then we have our lovely Professor Pacific Malonga from Rwanda, who is a commissioner and an advisor. At an appropriate time, he will also share with you. And finally, we have Mr. Musa Kitoko from the Democratic Republic of Congo. So ladies and gentlemen, these are the 9 commissioners whose mandate for 4 years is to promote Swahili on the continent and beyond. As it was clearly communicated earlier, Swahili is an official language in most of the EAC partner states. Swahili is a working language for the African Union Commission in Addis Ababa. Swahili was declared by UNESCO, and we are pushing actually. I think Prof. I will be right to get into that. We want the UN General Assembly at some point now. Our leaders should go there and address the assembly in Swahili. We've spoken English for far too long. So, in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, we as the Commission have agreed that the Republic of Uganda is going to host the African Union Kiswahili Commission headquarters. I think that deserves a round. The East African Community Kiswahili Commission is domiciled in Zanzibar. The East African Community Kiswahili Commission, their mandate is to promote Swahili in East Africa, in Zanzibar. That's where the headquarters of the Commission of EAC. Now, AU, the entire continent, headquarters of our own continental language, Kiswahili. Asanteni sana.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for the introduction of the Commission. And we want to congratulate you all, continent. It is a challenge to us, the young people, and whoever is under this roof, to make it a point to learn Kiswahili from me. I've started my Kiswahili lectures because I can't fail to tap into the opportunities of Kiswahili in Uganda, in East Africa, and on the continent. As you've heard, the first session that they took us through, I've attended all the journey, the trips to Butiama, and I want to tell you that it is the best experience you can have. They have chartered flights for those who want to fly, but those who want to use the road, we have used one of the most comfortable buses from Kila Motors here. I have a few colleagues of mine that went with. When they tell you we shall go to Serengeti, I mean, those lions are friendly, you can even have a handshake with them. So make it a point and interest yourself to be part of this trip to Butiama. And this time around, we're going to move around 3 places that are historical towards our region and also the community. So, Doctor, I think now you will have to invite in people to make submissions, our guests, the ambassadors, and different people. Then the commissioners will also speak 2 sessions that we have had, the 2-in-1 sessions, and also we shall go to the last session that is going to be involving the young people who are also going to speak as people who believe in the integration and also the agenda and the benefits of us coming together as a region. Thank you so much. Karibu Daktari.
Asante. Distinguished visitors, and since we have 2-in-1, I'm finding it a little challenging in which particular order my pilgrimage safari. Allow me invite the EALA and Kiswahili commissioners. Very briefly, the 2 commissioners will have a word, then Professor Mtembe will give a wrap, then we Okay, so allow me invite Dr. Aida Mtenyo, who is our commissioner in charge of education and mobile sensitization, to give her remark.
Mheshimiwa mgeni rasmi, balozi Babu Mamba, wageni waliote, karibuni sana. Mabula Daktari Tenda alivyosema, kwa wakati mwingine wanachanganyikiwa. Sijui niende katika Kiingereza ama nipate kwenye Kiswahili. Daktari, sijui niende wapi?
Kiswahili.
Ni Kiswahili na Kiingereza, niende nikichanganya. Thank you so much, Jacob Oboth, and Dr. Oboth. I may not be able to say all the names, fearing to break them, so I Swahili. I happen to be postgraduate coordinator for Swahili at the university, and some other responsibilities at the university. Back to Swahili, the language which I love very much. And I am proud to associate myself with Kiswahili. I want to take us through very brief time of my journey in Swahili. Kwa nini nimekuwa mwalimu wa Kiswahili, and maybe kwa nini commission. It's not a one-day thing. First of all, I was a student. Many people tend to say, but I like you're not a Ugandan. I am fully a Ugandan. I love Swahili, and the love started when I was in my senior 6. When I was choosing which subject I should take on, I told my director, "May I do Swahili?" He told me, you don't know even one word in Swahili. How will you study Swahili? I said, I love it. So allow me to take it. That's where now the Swahili begins, with the few teachers who are not qualified. But I appreciate that they gave me the competency to ground me at that early stage of my Swahili as a student from Mali. I excelled, joined Kitambo University. As a first-year student, we had that vibe, enthusiasm, the Gen Zs of that time who wanted to associate ourselves with Swahili. So that's when we had our first conference. I was in second year of 2007. For the Swahili conference. It was through our colleagues at the universities who initiated it, and we said, oh, so we can have a Kiswahili conference. I was like, okay, I'll be there. In a hard way though, because I was at a certain level, I should say basic for Kiswahili, but because of the love and because of feeling I should speak it beyond the academics. We had, of course, the association. I was a student. I learned it. Then through that association, the way you are doing Pendezetu Bukiama for us, we would have Chawakama, we would go into partner states. You know, that really built my competence and confidence in Swahili. We would organize as university students, we visit Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya, Burundi, and so far, so many, the people whom you hear now, even the executive secretary now at Zanzibar, the permanent secretary in Burundi, Jacob, all of them were students at that time. Lakini we were brought up in that love of Swahili. During that time, that's when I was also elected in leadership for the Kiswahili, and I did not stop there. From there, I became a leader of Uganda, Kiswahili Association students. With the time, I became a leader of East Africa Kiswahili Association students. Of course, later when I graduated in 2006, then I joined a master's. I studied my master's here for Kiswahili still, and then later on I joined our neighbor here in Kenya for my PhD in Kiswahili. One would want a last more personal PhD in Kiswahili. I was like, that's what I wanted. I have even my colleagues here, my friends in our Monday, and my colleagues who have moved the journey in Norwega, who have moved the journey of sensitization in Swahili, taking it outside the classroom, because our lab would be like, kwa nini iwe darasani? Why can't it be outside? Because we want the Kiswahili which is not really getting in Kiswahili the syntactic way, but can I fluently talk to you when I go somewhere else? And in most of the time we would ask ourselves from 1844 maybe up to now, and maybe from the 6th and 9th century up to now, why is it that in Africa we don't have one language of Kiswahili? If we really had it from all those centuries. We've moved a long journey. There have been so many efforts to make Kiswahili African language. There have been a lot has been done, even historing of Kiswahili Commission, there institutes, the Bakitas, like Swahili, and so many. But what has been done from the standardization of 1930 up to date? What has been done in Uganda from 1844 up to now, 2026? Why can't you speak Swahili? I normally tell people that here at times education becomes so difficult. Because at one time we tried to review our curriculum for primary so that we can use our local languages. But it was very difficult because people now started shaming and saying, oh, so now if I'm a Lupa and I only teach Lupa, it means I think that curriculum became a challenge. I happen also to be a panelist for curriculum development, not from primary, because I'm a teacher at primary, secondary, university. That's where I am. But why am I there? It's because I want Kiswahili. So now we are saying Kiswahili is not as a language for wider communication. Up to date, the Dar es Salaam Declaration has really, it's the one which laid the foundation of UNESCO to make Kiswahili have a celebration day. And during that time, we thank the government of URT because they even had to give some money to kickstart the use of making the Kiswahili a tool for African Union use. And we really appreciate, and that is the love of what Madam Julius Nyerere put in the language itself. If URT can embrace that, what about us? We are on the foundation of Madam Julius Nyerere, but we say our presidents are there. It's not only East Africa alone, because they've already put a home, that is Kakama, Kamisheni ya Kiswahili Afrika Mashariki, Zanzibar. We already have a home of East Africa. And now, Mwalimu Tendo is saying, you can have a home here for Aklan in Kiswahili. What does that mean? Other languages will also come to benchmark to us and ask if nini Kiswahili mliweza. What about us? What about Yoruba? What about Kosa? Can we also have it? We are all sisters under one family, which is Aklan. So now, with today, Dr. Tendo putting us here with the Mitwama, it's a sister and a brother who are saying, now that we are together, we can put our heads together. Then we move Kiswahili beyond the borders of East Africa. Let's go to Africa. Which dream, when shall we see at one moment that UN?
But because we are mindful of that time, I'm going to request you to use 5 minutes, Prof. Tafadhali naomba. Karibu.
I have a problem. Every time I speak, I find it easy to start and very difficult to stop. And I have 3 reasons. My dad was a pastor. He knew nothing else. He invested his life in pastorship. So, talking. When I went to school, I was very poor at mathematics, but very wonderful at languages, and I did law. So imagine advocates and lawyers. So that's why I'm happy to talk at you. But today, I'm trying to make it within 5 minutes. Jamani, naomba kwanza kabisa tumshukuru sana Rais Afande Kaguta Yoweri Museveni, kwa sababu isingekuwa yeye nisingekuwa hapa. Sijui ningepitia wapi, lakini popote ningepitia kwa vyovyote vile ningefika hapa, na kimakusudi kabisa nisitumie Kiingereza. Afadhali pamoja na heshima zenu nyote hapa, naomba nizungumze kwa lugha ya Kiswahili, na nikianzia kwa kujitambulisha mimi mwenye kijana Daktari Kisema. Kijana wa itifaki alisita sana kumwita Dr. Kisema kwamba ni kijana. Ndio, ni kijana kabisa, na kuhakikisha ni kijana mwenzangu, na mimi nawahakikisheni ni mzee hapa tulipo hapa, lakini ndio mzee kuliko yote. Ndio najivunia uzee wao, na Aklan ilivyoanza, mimi ni mmoja wapo wa waanzilishi wa Aklan Kiswahili Commission huko Nairobi. That was in 2011 tumeanzisha Aklan, mimi nikiwa ni mmoja wapo wa watu ambao tumeanzisha Aklan Kiswahili Commission, nikiwa na mwenzangu ambaye yuko kwenye kamisheni bado leo, anaitwa mzee Sekoro kutoka Tanzania. Hayuko hapa kwa sababu zinazoeleweka. Tulianzisha kamisheni hiyo miaka 15 iliyopita. Nashukuru sasa hii kamisheni mnayoiona leo, ambayo inaongozwa na mdogo wangu Profesa Mtemi, ambaye naenda mfahamu enzi hizo chuo kikuu cha Dar es Salaam, wakati Mwalimu Nyerere akiwa ndiye mkuu wa chuo au chancellor wa chuo kikuu cha Dar es Salaam. Mimi nilikuwa mwanafunzi wakati huo, na mtoto wake kama vijana wengi wanasema huyu ndiye anaingia chuo kikuu enzi hizo. Kwa hivyo mimi uzee wangu wala hauna mashaka yoyote. Na baada ya kuanzisha hii kamisheni ya Kiswahili huko Nairobi, nimekuwa mmoja wapo ya waanzilishi pia wa kamisheni ya Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki mwaka 2014 huko Zanzibar, wao na yule kijana wa Kizanzibari, aka watu wananiita Mzanzibari. Kuna miaka 12 sasa iliyopita nimeanzisha mimi na jamaa ndugu zangu. Kwa hivyo kitu cha pili ambacho ningeweza kuambieni ni kwamba huyu ambaye alikuwa ni mkuu wa EALA ambaye anaitwa Profesa Sozinho Matsinye kutoka Mozambique, EALA yote kwa jumla, sio Kiswahili, EALA yote, alikuwa ni mtu kutoka Mozambique au Msumbiji. Kwa wale ambao kidogo wanataka kusikiliza Kiswahili, Mozambique kwa Kiswahili weta Msumbiji. Una mkuu wa itifaki kwa Msimbuzi, sio Msimbuzi, ni Msumbiji. Mozambique ni Msumbiji, wewe ni Msumbiji, na kijana bosi wangu hapa ni kwa Mtembe, Msumbiji, Mtembe na kadhalika. Kwa hivyo ni tumeanzisha wakati huo, na kwa kweli tumejitahidi kwa kadri ya uwezo wetu. Na sio tu hivyo, kujitambulisha kwangu kunasisitiza swali la kuongea na kuandika. Nimemwona kijana akoni kwa simoni, nimesikia ni mweupe mno, ile tatizo kama mkiwa ni usiku inabidi kidogo utafute tochi. Naomba tafadhali niwaambie kwamba tumekuwa tukialikwa na redio mbalimbali za kanda hii, ikiwemo ni UBC, UBC, TBC na KBC. Kwa hivyo kwa kweli tumejitahidi na tukaanzisha, ni mwenyewe nimeanzisha kipindi cha Kiswahili kinaitwa Jifunze Kiswahili, ambacho kilikuwa kinasikika hata kutoka sehemu za Kabale, Barara, huko Kivu, Kongo, Burundi na kadhalika, kwa zaidi ya miaka 12. Wananiambia huyo mtu ambaye anaitwa Profesa Malonga ni nani? Leo nipo hapa, nashukuru sana kwamba kuna vijana ambao wana vision kama kisemo, lazima kupigia makofi. Hayauzi makofi ya hata kama yanauzwa tutanunua kutoka, nitakununulia makofi haya. Kwa hivyo na Kiswahili kama anavyosema binti yangu hapa Dr. Aida, ni kitu rahisi sana. Watu Kiswahili hakiwezi kumeza lugha nyingine yoyote, haiwezekani. Unaweza ukajifunza Kiswahili na ukajifunza lugha yako nzuri kwa kutumia Kiswahili. Kwa hiyo tunaweza nafanya rafiki yangu, ni rahisi sana, rahisi sana. Na nimeanza mkakati wa kuandika vitabu kwa kuanza kwa Wachina. Kuna kitabu hapo cha kufundisha Kiswahili ukitumia Kichina nimetunga. Hapa Uganda nimeungana na jamaa anaitwa James ndani wa Spa. Tumetunga kitabu cha Wesomese Oluswahili no Lungereza. Utashangaa nisizungumze lugha mara lugha yote ile. Na ili kwa kushirikiana na huyu mheshimiwa tumetunga kitabu hicho, kipo hapa kwenye maduka ya vitabu sijui, lakini kipo Wesomese Oluswahili no lugha Oluswahili no Lungereza. Unaweza ukainuka kipata na utajifunza kabisa kwa muda mfupi sana, na utakuwa unajua namna kuongea vizuri kabisa. Kwa sababu nasema hivyo kwa sababu East African Community Secretariat wamekiidhinisha, na sasa hivi unapohudhuria Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki Festival, tunaita Jama Fest, utapata zawadi ya kitabu hicho. Kama ingawa nafikiri sasa itakuwa vimepisha, Uganda ilipewa nakala 5,000, nakala maana yake kopi 1,000, Burundi 1,000, Kenya 1,000, Rwanda 1,000 na Tanzania 1,000, na kama tunakuwa tunakitafsiri au tunatafsiri to different languages ambazo tunaita cross border languages. Sasa hivi nafanya kazi na mtu kutoka Zimbabwe, Mshona, ili kiweze kuingia kwa Washona, na mtu na watu waje.
Supporter ni Mswahili mwenyewe kwanza. She's herself a Swahili but also a champion katika kuendeleza lugha ya Kiswahili. So ninazungumza Kiswahili. Nitazungumza taratibu ili tuweze kuelewana, na nitakachozungumza kwa hakika kinahusu Swahili Commission, lakini pia kinahusu Akalan na kwa nini ni muhimu kwa Uganda sasa kuzungumza Kiswahili kama ambavyo ni muhimu kwa Burundi, kwa Rwanda, kwa DRC. Kwa hiyo ninamshukuru Mungu kwamba nilipata nafasi hiyo. So watu wengi wamezungumza kuhusu umuhimu wa kuwa na lugha ya Kiswahili kama lugha ya umajumui wa Kiafrika, as a Pan-African language. Let me tell you kwamba Rais Kwame Nkrumah alikuwa ni rais wa kwanza kukubali lugha ya Kiswahili ifundishwe Ghana rasmi, lakini pia ndio lugha ya kazi. Hizo ni vitu vile tofauti. It's an official language but also a language mnasemaje, lugha ya kazi. Official language, lugha rasmi, lakini pia lugha ambayo itatenda kazi kila siku, working language. Na AU wamesema Kiswahili itakuwa ni lugha rasmi na lugha ya kazi. Right? SADC ambayo ina nchi 16 wamesema Kiswahili kitakuwa ni lugha rasmi na lugha ya kazi. Maana yake ni vijana mna nafasi kubwa sana 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 ya kupata kazi kupitia Kiswahili. Kwa nini? Kwa sababu tungelipenda kijana wewe ukafundisha Kiswahili kule Zimbabwe. Tungependa kijana wewe ukafundisha Kiswahili Namibia. Tungependa kijana wewe ukafundisha Kiswahili Botswana, Eswatini, Afrika Kusini and so on. Kwa hivyo usikae na Kiswahili tu. No. We need you with other languages. Kwa hiyo tunapotetea Kiswahili na kukionyesha Kiswahili itakuwa ni lugha ya Afrika, wakati huo tunapenda uwe na lugha nyingine. So do not make a mistake kwamba we want to put down all other languages and elevate Kiswahili. Hapana. Tunasema utakuwa na nafasi nzuri na muhimu ikiwa utakuwa na lugha yako lakini pia ukawa na Kiswahili. And that is the goal. And how are we going to do this? And tunafanyaje ili tufikie sehemu hiyo? Sasa tumebadilisha namna ya ufundishaji lugha ya Kiswahili. Nitazungumza na nitafafanua. Ikiwa nitakuja hapa kwa mfano Uganda, nataka kufundisha lugha ya Kiswahili kwa Wanyankole. Sitawafundisha Wanyankole au Waganda kwa kutumia Kiingereza ati kwamba sisi wote tulitawaliwa na Mwingereza. Hapana. Nitawafundisha zaidi ya 156 Tanzania, lakini tunaunganisha na lugha moja model, kwamba tunataka lugha ya Kiswahili ikienda katika nchi nyingine isaidie kufufua lugha za nchi hiyo ambazo zinakufa. Sio uongo kwamba sisi sasa hivi watoto wetu na wajukuu zetu hawazungumzi lugha zetu. Wote hapa tukiulizana, wazee wangu hapa, watoto wenu, wajukuu zenu wanazungumza lugha za kwako ya mama? Hapana, wanazungumza ama Kiswahili au Kiingereza. Hapana. So in so doing we are actually uprooting the main roots ambazo zitajenga Kiswahili, kwa sababu the language Swahili kama lugha sio tu lugha mawasiliano. Kuna philosophy, falsafa yetu, kuna values, kuna science, indigenous language, indigenous sciences, kuna mambo mengi, kuna utu. So tunataka hivyo vyote visipotee. Kwa hiyo tunataka tufufue lugha zetu za asili, ndio maana ya ACALAN, African Academy of Languages. At the same time tuwe na lugha moja ya kutuunganisha wote Zimbabwe kwa ajili ya Kiswahili. Na baadaye tukajifunza kwamba mbona watu hawapokei vizuri Kiswahili. Kwa hiyo tukabadilisha, leo tunafundisha Kiswahili kule kwa Zulu Natal kutumia isiZulu. Tungeweza kwenda upande wa Cape kutumia East Coast. Tunatumia Shona kufundisha Kiswahili, Ndebele kwa Kiswahili. Tumeweza kufanikiwa. Kwa hiyo tunadhani ni muhimu sana watu hapa Uganda waelewe kwamba Kiswahili is not a threat. It has never been a threat. In Tanzania, it is surviving alongside lugha nyingine za Tanzania. So ni muhimu kabisa muelewe kwamba Kiswahili kitakokuwa kinakuunganisheni wote, wakati huo kitakuwa kinafufua lugha ambazo zinakufa. Na lugha zetu zikifa, manake hata sisi utu wetu unapotea. Mengi pia yamesemwa, lakini nizungumze kuhusu ACALAN kidogo. ACALAN ilianza kwa wazo la aliyekuwa rais Alpha Omar Konare. Yeye akiwa rais wa Mali alisema lakini kuna kitu ambacho tunakipoteza katika lugha zetu za Afrika. Na kwa nini tusianzishe academy itakokuwa inatetea lugha za Afrika? Akaanzisha ACALAN wakati wa mwaka 2000, inaitwa MACALAN, maana ni Mission for the African Academy of Languages. Na akasema maana tumekuja hiyo injili imeanzia Uganda, itakwenda Burundi, itakwenda wapi, itakwenda Tanzania, na baadaye itakwenda sehemu mbalimbali za Afrika Magharibi. Nigeria wanafundisha Kiswahili.
2 events in one. I know members of the fourth estate, the media, would want us to close by 1. We are trying our best to see that by 1 we are done, but it's equally important. Hawa wote meza kuu ni watu wazito sana. They dedicated their time to come and be with us. So they are representing their seniors and others in their respective capacities. So I request you to bear with us briefly. We are going to narrow down the program so that each of the guests invited here can have a 1 or 2. Please, Afondo Kosh, please, you have the floor to talk to us regarding the 27th Mutiama Pilgrimage Safari 3rd edition, because by God's grace you flagged us off during our maiden edition. Karibu sana.
Your Excellency, the High Commissioner of Kenya, Parliament of Kenya, Uganda, and all dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. I would say that I used to be a chairman of the debating club when I was at school, and I can also talk. But when I put on uniform, my talking is reduced. When you serve in the process, you don't have to talk much really, because we have official spokespersons. Nonetheless, I want to say that I strongly associate myself with the name is a little bit difficult for me, but the first pilgrimage which was made, I remember the timing was a bit tricky. What time was it? I mean, when we flagged off, the time was going to end with elections. But life has to continue. After the elections, we are back to business. The government will soon be fully constituted. As you followed, the president was elected, members of parliament, the speaker was sworn in yesterday, and the deputy, and now maybe the formation of cabinet, and then back to business. My work is just to ensure that everything is done in a secure environment. We pledge to do our best, and as the Uganda Police Force, we don't work in isolation. We have an interagency framework through which we work, and we support each other by tapping on the resources, both human and non-human. So on that note, allow me to stop here, but only assure you that the country is safe, and we are committed to ensuring that we enjoy your stay in Uganda. The pilgrims who will come during the 3rd pilgrimage will be safe all the way to Makshon Falls to Agogoro. Incidentally, that road from Masindi Port to Apache Town is now tarmac. You may hear Agogoro and you may think it is a very road place with a dusty road. No, the dust may be just a short distance, but the main road is tarmac. So I wish you well and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Afande. And indeed, as he has rightly stated, once you go...
The Kenya High Commissioner to Uganda, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors and High Commissioners, members of EALA, organizers of the Africa Mashariki Fest, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I bring you greetings from the Inspector General of Government who asked me to represent her in this engagement. Pan-African greetings too from the Inspectorate of Government. Salamu kutoka kwa to join you here this afternoon for the official launch of the 3rd edition of the 20th Butiama Pilgrimage 2026 and also unveiling the Akalan AU Kiswahili Commission team. I am proudly associated with this team and I would gladly participate. Like my colleague has said, he will participate. I would like to be among the people being flagged off to Kenya. Allow me extend my sincere appreciation to the organizers of Africa Mashariki Fest for this visionary initiative that continues to preserve, celebrate, and also promote the legacy of our very own Africa's great statesman and Pan-Africanist Mwalimu Julius Nyerere Kambarage. And this pilgrimage is far more than just a commemorative journey. It is a profound reflection of the values, of the ideas, and the ideals that defined Mwalimu Julius Nyerere's life. It was about unity, service to humanity, integrity, patriotism, ethical leadership, and even the unwavering commitment he had to patriotism. And I believe when we go for this pilgrimage, there's just a lot to learn out there. These are values that remain indispensable if we are to realize the dream of a politically and economically integrated East African community indeed, and a prosperous and united African continent. Lazima Mezi Mwalimu Nyerere must honor Mwalimu Julius Nyerere by developing this Kiswahili. Sometime in 2024, I joined others were businessmen from Chikongo, downtown, others were mobilizers in the NRM Secretariat. And I did the Kiswahili course with them, and it was quite exciting. I began writing a book about my journey to the touch of humility, and that book started selling even before I published it, even before I printed. People were ordering. We want 100 copies, we want 200 copies here. The first 1,000 copies sold out before I had printed a single book. So. And it was a blessing from this journey of studying Kiswahili. We traveled to Zanzibar with the other group, others went by road, some of us flew ahead. But it was a time to reflect about this unity through Kiswahili, about how we can move together as a team by speaking our own language. So the theme for this year's event, exposing the enduring legacy and values of Jumuiya founding fathers, a call for enhanced efforts towards politically federated East African community is very timely, because it reminds us not only of where we have come from, but also where we are going as a region, and we need to go together. So as we honor our founding fathers, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, Dr. Apollo Milton Obote, we also pay tribute to their visionary leadership and the sacrifices they made in laying this foundation for the regional cooperation and even for the integration, which are very, very significant today in the region. Their dream was never merely about geographical proximity, It was about building a community grounded with shared values. It's merely about aspiration. It's not merely about a historical aspiration. It is a living philosophy. It is rooted in conviction as African solutions. And that our development must be driven by our values, by the languages, institutions, and in this continental cohesion. And I'm very happy to be rubbing shoulders with my neighbor here, Professor from the Dar es Salaam Missions of Learning. We are going to be very, very far. So promotion of Kiswahili is a significant step. Its advancement as a working language of the African Union will unite the continent. Bila Kiswahili, lugha ya umoja wa Afrika. Meaning that African liberation is not complete without Kiswahili, a language for African unity. We need to take this deeper. At the Inspectorate of Government, we recognize the strategic importance in advancing public service delivery, in promoting inclusion, in strengthening citizen engagement. It is for this reason that for us, when I completed that course I was telling you about, I decided to bring it home. Today, the staff members of the Inspectorate of Government are learning Kiswahili and they're about to complete the first level of the course. I believe that this will take us far, because when citizens can access information and engage institutions in languages they understand, transparency is enhanced. Even the trust we are talking about is strengthened, and accountability becomes even more attainable. Tutakutumia Kiswahili katika shughuli za kutokomeza rushwa. We shall use Kiswahili for activities and
it works hand in hand with other sister agencies. Comrade Israel Ocho, the Deputy Head of State House Anti-Corruption, who is representing General Henry Soke, to give his brief remarks before I invite the guest of honor. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much, Comrade Sembo. I think fell sick in Kenya, I think killed it in Uganda, buried it in Congo. I don't know what Rwanda is doing a revival will come from there. But na wasalimu wote katika roho ya umoja wa Afrika, and it is in that spirit of Pan-Africanism that when Comrade Kisembo first came to the State House Anti-Corruption Unit to pitch this idea of this fest and other things that enhanced the activities of building a meaningful East African community. We offered a very welcome here. The General invited us and his team and my team and agreed to support. We did not merely support because we thought the idea was good, but the idea aligned with our mandate and also aligned with the strategic guidelines, the leadership of the country under which we work given us. Our president is a committed Pan-Africanist. And the things Comrade Kisembo and his team were talking about enhanced Pan-Africanism. We built this African community and we built the Great Africa. So we agreed to partner with them and work with them and support them. We believe the things we are doing today, the furtherance of Swahili as a language, goes a long way in enhancing the unity of the Africa. You cannot, if we have one unifying language, it will be easy for us to unite as a people. Also, my sister, the Deputy IGG, has emphasized the need for the common language in the fight against corruption. I only want to add that Swahili, most of the time, we communicate and transact government business in a foreign language. We use English. Most of the people we intend to save from corruption are common people who speak their local languages. If if we have a common language, Swahili, which we speak across the country, or if, like the professors are saying, Swahili can be used to enhance our local languages, then I think we'll be moving in the right direction. The work of tackling corruption will be a lot easier. We also moved by the person, the four leadership of their countries, they will mostly be plagued by poverty, ignorance, and disease. That's what Dr. Oboth said we would fight here. That's what Mwalimu said we would fight in Tanzania. Mwalimu added the fourth enemy, which was corruption. And he lived an exemplary life that was built on purely servant leadership and integrity. And we think it's important for us to honor him and participate in activities that pay tribute to him. But beyond paying tribute to him, we thought the involvement of the young people in these activities like this that emulate people who have fought for Africa, especially at a time when our continent continues to confront division, governance challenges, the same corruption we're fighting, and the external pressures, and a lot of distraction which comes in the form of what we see in the internet and other things. We thought it was a place where our people would get some reorientation and focus on what is the existential threat that faces Africa. The Mwalimus faced colonialism. What is the challenge we face now? And what can we learn from the Mwalimus and others like Dr. Oboth and Mzee Jomo to push our youth forward in advancing our countries and advancing our continents. So we think the planned pilgrimage for this year is welcome. We are happy, it is enhanced. We are going to Akokoro, we are going to Katundu, and we are going back to Buchama. We think the lessons for the young people will be more, and we can only wish Dr. Tendo and his team all the best in the preparations, and we hope that it moves well, and we remain committed to support.
Asante sana.
Jambo. Nazingatia itifaki zote ambazo tumezitumia tangu mwanzoni. Fernandez Juarez, balozi wa taifa la Venezuela, pamoja na wakilishi wa idara mbalimbali za serikali, idara ya IGG, idara ya polisi na idara ya State House Anti-Corruption. In one of his many speeches and encouraging remarks, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere says the following, and I quote him: "My generation led Africa to political freedom. The current generation, leaders and peoples of Africa, must speak out the flickering torch of African freedom, refueling that I wish to make a few remarks. One, I am absolutely delighted to join you here today at this very special occasion for the launch of the third edition of the Twende Zetu Butiama Pilgrimage Safari, an incredible initiative really powered by the Africa Mashariki Fest, and at the same time unveiling of the Achlan African Union Kiswahili Commissioners. This is a good occasion for us to trace our history, to trace our roots, and also refocus our energies on what we must do to realize the important agenda of our integration and our shared prosperity. I'm particularly enthused by the theme of this year's edition. You have framed the theme espousing the enduring legacy and values of our Jumuiya founding fathers, a call for enhanced efforts towards a political vision. that is why it is so significant that this initiative is rooted in our history and the legacy of our founding fathers. We really must pay tribute to that generation that Mwalimu Julius Nyerere applauds in the remarks I just quoted. The generation, the founding father of the Kenyan nation, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, the generation of Dr. Apollo Milton Obote, the generation of Kwame Nkrumah, the same generation of the inspirational Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, whose spirit lives on in the great legacy he left our region and our continent. One of the things that makes the legacy of Julius Nyerere so enduring, that it was so real, it was also honest, it was so simple, and it was so easy, yet it has remained such a formidable challenge. We may have forgotten that Mwalimu Julius Nyerere so believed in the importance of integration that he offered to delay the independence of Tanzania, or Tanganyika at that time. And his dream at that time was that if we could all gain political independence together as East Africa, it would have been easier for us to integrate from the home. What could possibly have been a greater sacrifice than that? A leader of a nation in the midst of the fight for independence, offering the rest of the region to sink the independence of our three countries so as to take off together as a single integrated regions. Language is a powerful symbol of identity. Kiwa Kiswahili kitakuwa lugha yetu, ile tunaitwa lugha ya umoja wetu, it would have provided that strong foundation to unite our people. But it has remained a challenge to date. And it is true, we joke about Swahili having been born in Zanzibar, halafu lugha hii kabalehe kule Tanzania, lugha ilipofika Kenya ikapata maradhi, ikaanza kuugua. Ndio sababu ukija kule Kenya, Kiswahili cha Kenya si kama Kiswahili cha Tanzania ama Zanzibar. Kiswahili chenye maradhi. Halafu lugha ilipofika hapa Uganda, naamini sasa maradhi yakazidi na lugha ikafariki. At his swearing and inauguration, he was so comfortable to speak to you in Swahili and English, Luganda, and it is so comfortable. It rolls off his tongue so naturally, it's not pretentious. And so he sets the example in very real terms. Not only does he urge the region to rise up to the challenge of reliving the dream and the vision of our founding fathers, he lives it himself, he speaks the language, and he sets the standards. Launching the third edition of this incredible initiative. It's a beautiful initiative. But we are also privileged to sit in the midst of recently elected commissioners of the African Union Kiswahili Commission and the first Secretary General of that commission. And so let me really congratulate in a very special way, very special sense, each one of you great people who have been handed the privilege and the responsibility to move this dream forward. And you, my brother, Dr. Tendo, for assuming the responsibility of Secretary General of this important commission. If the enthusiasm and determination and passion that Mwalimu Julius Nyerere says in his remarks were a person, if it were to take on the face of a human being, it would be you, Dr. Tayebwa. The passion, strong leader has my sister not taken on the responsibility to learn Swahili and even write about it. But the whole institution is adopting the language as some kind of lingua franca of the operations. I really applaud that. It's encouraging. Our universities, I was really enthused to listen to Dr. Aida speak about her work at the Kabale University, Department of Kiswahili. And for me, we must deploy our institutions at all levels, not just institutions for higher learning, all our institutions, including institutions that are offering basic education, to institutionalize this language as our language of choice. And as Professor Aldrin Mutambei reminded us, it's not a language intended to undermine any other language. It's a language with a purpose, and a beautiful purpose to unite us. I want to conclude by making a special call to our young people. And Dr. Tendo, together with the organizers of this event, I must congratulate you and applaud you for inviting students, our university students, to this event. I have been informed that these are more than just students, they are also student leaders. And so they bear both the responsibility of leadership and the duty of care to the students they represent. I want to remind you that the future of this dream lies in your hands and in your hearts. You are the generation that must bring to fruition the great dream of our founding fathers. I want to challenge you to take pride in your Africanity. I want you to take pride in your identity. I want your conscience to be pricked by the teachings of Marcus Garvey about being proud of who you are and being rooted in your history. It is beautiful to see the world, and by all means, travel and experience the world. But let the world not blind you to who you are. Remain true to who you are. In the famous animated movie, The Lion King, a scene is replayed of the young Simba in a moment where he's going through doubt and he's feeling completely lost. And in that moment, the spirit of his father, King Mufasa, appears to him and speaks to him. And the greatest message from King Mufasa to his boy, King Mufasa is long dead, and so this is the spirit of King Mufasa to his little boy, Simba. He says these profound words: remember who you are. Remember who you are. It's a powerful message. And it's the same message I pass to our young people here. Remember who you are. You're proud sons of Africa, a great continent, the cradle of humankind and the cradle of knowledge. Be proud of this continent, be proud of who you are, and help us realize this beautiful dream of an integrated East Africa, an integrated Africa, speaking a language that we are proud of. It does not mean that you don't interact with other cultures, it just means that you're faithful to your own. I have had the privilege of traveling the world. I'm an attorney, trained as a lawyer at the University of Nairobi. Trained further as a lawyer in the Netherlands, in the United States. I have been a minister in government from a very young age. At one time, I was the youngest member of the Kenyan cabinet in the government of President Mwai Kibaki. I have been recently, I've been minister for sports until about a year ago. I was minister responsible for sports, youth, and creative economy in our government in Nairobi. And so I have traveled the whole world. There's no continent of the world that I have not been to. You would struggle to find a capital on the face of the earth that I have not visited. I have also had the privilege of working with young people up close. And I can tell you that in all my travels, whether as a student or in other responsibilities, my spirit is always drawn back to Africa. The other day I had the choice of either being Kenya's ambassador in Brussels or in Kampala, and you know what I chose. My message to you is that we have confidence in you as young people. We have faith in you. Help us to live the dream of our founding fathers. Dr. Kisembo, Dr. Tendo, together with your team, the Kenyan High Commission is here to fully support this initiative. And because this year your pilgrimage safari is extended to pay tribute to Dr. Oboth Oboth and to Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, we will be joining you across that whole road. And as we do this, let us do it to enjoy our region. As we live history, as we relive history, let us also live today. Our region is beautiful, so let us also travel and enjoy the sights and sounds of East Africa. Let us take in the beauty of our region, the diversity of our cultures, full message, and use every opportunity presented to us to amplify this agenda. I had the privilege as Minister for Sports in Kenya in imagining what's going to be called the East Africa Pamoja bid to bring the African Cup of Nations to this region for the first time. Because I see sports as a powerful tool for uniting people, as a powerful tool for integration. AFCON is coming to Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. Let us use that power of sports and football to further entrench this agenda. The same way you have celebrated Arsenal, now let us celebrate Taifa Stars, Harambee Stars, and Uganda Cranes at the Africa Cup of Nations. Asanteni sana na Mungu aibariki Afrika Mashariki.
Asante sana Dr. Tendo, umenipa kazi ngumu. Baada ya mheshimiwa kuzungumza, inakuwa ni ngumu mtu mwingine kusema yale yaliyosemwa kwa uzuri, kwa mahaba. Nikisema mahaba, nisikia sauti yake ilivyokuwa nzito. Inabeba na uzito na kuenzi wazee wetu walioumba na kujenga Afrika Mashariki kama walivyosema. Lakini jambo muhimu sana ni kwa vijana, kwamba sisi tunaondoka na nini katika kikao hiki. Jambo muhimu sana, Kwa hiyo tunakushukuru sana kwa mawazo hayo, kwa hotuba fupi lakini ambayo inaingia mpaka ndani ya mioyo yetu, na nadhani kwamba vijana wamechukua ujumbe, wanaosikiliza huko nje kwa kupitia katika vyombo vya habari wamesikia, na sisi tuliomo ndani tutaendeleza wazo ambalo mlitoa. Na mimi nakushukuru kipekee na ninakaribisha ule moyo uliousema wa kushangilia timu ya nje. Tutumie moyo ule ule kushangilia timu zetu, moyo ule ule wa kushangilia na kujivunia lugha nyingine. Tutumie moyo ule ule kujivunia lugha zetu. Asante sana.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for your patience. Members of the Fourth Estate, we have a brief activity after here once the guests have taken leave. Let me inform you that deliberately His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni and the NRM party initiated a program. Members of cabinet ministers, every Monday before they convene for cabinet, they attend Kiswahili lessons. That is a deliberate step by the state. And before I conclude, I have a book here, The Value of Political Education. This is a speech by His Excellency the President that he made on the 12th of August 1989 to the NRA officers, the revolutionary officers that had conquered power. And President Museveni gave me this book, I think 2-3 years ago, but on his inauguration day at Serena during the dinner, we were again given the same book. And allow me, on page 2, it says some people work out of conviction and not merely for personal gains. Young people, as we live here, may we take this message that our leaders managed to champion the liberation struggle and they succeeded because they worked out of conviction and not merely for personal gains. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Our brothers, the young brothers, the Rhythm of Christ choir band, Rhythm of Christ band, could you please stand up? Rhythm of Christ band, Madam IGG, this is a humble request, and comrade, these young Turks here are talented. As you've witnessed for yourselves how they are praying anthems, both Uganda and EAC. It is my humble appeal to you, Madam IGG and comrade, that
5 years since the revival of the East African community. A few of us are familiar with this book. It is at only $100. It has a message from His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda and also our CDF, which is message here. It has also the message of our ambassadors to Tanzania and other key stakeholders towards regional integration. It was written by Dr. Ronex. And whoever is interested in buying this book, even after here, at $100. We take installments and also the other arrangements.